Every day, I meet entrepreneurs and sales professionals who struggle to get more clients, make more sales, and make enough money. The number one question I get is, how do I deal with buyer stalls and buyer objections? Well, now you have the opportunity to download a copy of my free article that will show you what the buyer stalls mean, how to deal with them, and how to effectively end those buyer stalls and buyer objections so that you will get more sales and make more money. Please go to www.salessuccesssystem.com now and download a copy of your free article called How to Deal with Buyer Stalls and Buyer Objections.
Beginning in the early 1980s, organizations and well-renowned establishments such as the Harvard Business School, the Gallup Organization, the Charlie Group, Xerox Corporation, and many others began studying outstanding salespeople to try and identify the competencies, or what we call the vital behaviors, that contribute to their extreme levels of success. Two of the most surprising discoveries that came out of all of that research is it doesn't matter what product or service or anything that you are offering to somebody, 39% of a customer's buying decision is based on the salesperson's competence. And in fact, it was found that only 1% of all salespeople utilize these essential competencies, and only less than half of 1% of actual sales forces and sales teams achieve what is considered to be world-class status in the customer's minds. In other words, the vast majority of sales teams and companies will absolutely receive tremendous competitive advantage when it's a single salesperson as a coach or a solopreneur or a complete sales team makes even the slightest improvement in the 16 required competencies. If you do so, and if your sales team does so, you have the greatest opportunity to achieve your full potential for income, recognition, professional satisfaction, and the things that you want in your personal and professional lives. Let's talk for a moment about the 16 competencies. The first is that you use a partnering approach with your customers. In this particular case, it's not about selling to somebody. In the several years that I've been working with people in sales training and so forth, every time I ask the question, does anybody like to be sold to, I have yet to have anybody raise their hand and say, yes, me. None of us like it, and it is not a technique that the world-class salesperson uses. Instead, you want to become a partner with your prospective customer. The second essential competency, and this is by the salesperson himself or herself, is that he or she is motivated by a compelling personal mission. Underlying that is very simple. People want the passion that we bring, the belief we have in our products and our services. They may not understand how we go about doing it, but they can feel and touch and see and want the passion behind it. And when they relate to you, not only as a salesperson, but a deliverer of those services, they become motivated by your compelling personal mission. The third essential competency is that you use a listening, probing style with customers, and this is critical. If you're not listening, you're selling and you're pushing. People want what you have, but they only want what you have as how it relates to them in that time and space and where they want to be, whether they want to eliminate a pain or get a joy or achieve something. If you have 15 different things that your service or product does, but 6 of them are what they really hope, want, and need, that's what they want to talk about. Instead of throwing 15 things out there and seeing what sticks, the world-class sales professional first asks a lot of deep listening and probing questions so that they can take and relate to that customer, so the entire conversation is about that customer's wants and needs. The fourth is adapting your relationship style to various customers. There are actually 4 quadrants in our behavior relationships. The quadrants are all things that we naturally do. Some of us are analytical, some of us are drivers, some of us are amiables, some of us are expressives. Now, we have pieces of all quadrants, but we have a predominant quadrant. It is important to understand your style, as well as it's important to understand the customer's style. That doesn't mean that you change your style. What it means is that you relate the way in which you behave and look at the world in a way that you can communicate effectively with your customer and their style. The fifth sales competency is that I build trust readily. You've probably heard this before, that people buy from people that they know, like, and trust. And in fact, trust is very, very important. Think of a situation where you have purchased or you've been involved with somebody or you've had a coach or you've even a physician that you don't fully trust. It is not a comfortable relationship. And remember, we started off by saying we use a partnering approach with my customers and my clients. Trust is very, very important. The sixth one is I express empathy well. Empathy links to listening skills. In order to be empathetic, it means that you can understand what someone is going to. It doesn't mean you judge them. It doesn't mean that you necessarily agree or disagree, but it does mean that you are listening and hearing and feeling the emotions behind their feelings and their emotions. The seventh essential sales competency is I apply a higher level of thought and strategy in dealing with customers. You are not simply going to shove something down somebody's throat. You're going to use a higher level in thought and strategy because, again, as a partner and listening to them, as you can see, they all link together. What's happening is you become not only a salesperson, but you become a consultant, an advisor, a friend, and together you figure out how to work and deal with that customer. This links very closely to the eighth competency, which is I hold myself personally accountable for achieving my customer's desired results. If you're simply selling somebody something, and you really don't care if it brings about the results, there is no passion and there is no trust that can be there for them. So instead, what you want to be able to do is to hold yourself accountable and personally accountable to help that customer or client achieve what it is that they're trying to achieve.
To effectively deal with buyer stalls and buyer objections, please go to www.salessuccesssystem.com now and download your free copy of my article, How to Deal with Buyer Stalls and Buyer Objections.